Hello, hello. Good Thursday afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Brad Maushart here, alerting you on this first alert weather day, one of two in a row. I should probably turn myself down or I'm going to have a lot of microphone feedback. Hopefully you guys are off to a good start this morning weather-wise. You know, we're seeing a lot of sunshine outside right now, but that is not going to stay that way. In fact, sunshine on a severe weather day does not help you. It helps to get those temperatures up, and that'll be thunderstorm fuel later on tonight. Now, with that said, most of the day today is actually going to be pretty nice outside. Up until about, let's say, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and really after sunset in most areas tonight. So timing tomorrow is going to be a little bit earlier, 5, 6, 7 o'clock from west to east. Both days, similar threats, though the tornado and flash flooding threat is a little higher on Friday. Large hail possible both days, as well as damaging wind. So the entire tri-state, by the time it's all said and done, be it today or tomorrow, will likely be seeing some of those stronger storms rolling on through. Better chances, at least more widespread storm activity will be happening on Friday. Right now, got kind of the look of summer to it, right? As you look back towards downtown, we have some hazy skies, just a few fair weather clouds now, but it just feels like summer outside. We have high humidity. Temperatures are almost up to 80 degrees, and we're just now to the noon hour. So the last couple of days, this past weekend especially, this is a good example. Last weekend, we had dew points. If I can get my pointer to work here. We had dew points really, really low. Dew point is a measure of moisture in the air. That's similar to relative humidity, right? It's a different level and way to measure the moisture in the air. And the dew points this weekend were very low, 40s, 50s, so very dry outside. Dew points have been climbing the last couple of days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we had a rain chance each day. Yesterday, we picked up another 0.13 of an inch of rain at the International Airport. So it's been a wet streak there through the week, but it's just kind of in the 60-degree range. Currently, some spots in the tri-state are above the 70-degree dew point range. And when you get there and you start to see these very humid conditions, that is a ton of fuel for the storms outside. Hamilton now up to 70 of the dew point department. Lunkin up to 71, 75 in Lebanon. Batesville is swimming in the air outside right now. It is very, very sticky. You're going to feel that and wear it when you walk out the door. So that is a ton of fuel. You combine that with obviously the heat. High temperatures today are expected to climb into the mid-80s. The atmosphere will be ripe for strong storms. Now, we've been mentioning the last couple of days, the only thing that's keeping these storms from developing right now is a lid on the atmosphere, we call the cap. Cap is strong. It's a layer of warmer air aloft, essentially. Warm air wants to rise, like this warm air we're seeing right now with the 80s here in the tri-state now starting to pop out. Some mid-80s there off to the west. That warm air rises, it encounters that warm air aloft, and it just kind of stalls out. It doesn't want to grow anymore. Those storms don't want to climb anymore into the sky. So things just kind of stall out, right? To get past that, you have to have even warmer temperatures at the surface than what you're seeing aloft. And that allows the cap or that block to kind of eventually break down. A little bit of moisture as well can help to break that down. A frontal passage coming by, a cold front, a warm front coming by can help to push those storms up just a little bit more and get them to break through that cap. So today's chances, and I still think we break the cap because we're already up to 78 degrees and there's nothing but sunshine out there inhibiting the temperatures from keeping on climbing, right? By this afternoon, a few storms, and really more so this evening, closer to sunset tonight. So I don't want to get you confused because we have two separate events. Tonight, more close to sunset, which is around 8:30 or so in most spots. So that's when we're expecting the storms tonight. By that point, a few storms will have developed. Not a very widespread event today. It's not to say the storms that don't develop aren't going to be dangerous, because they very well could be. In fact, I'd argue that some of the storms today, even though it's not going to be a widespread threat, could be more dangerous than what we see outside maybe tomorrow. Just because when they don't have a lot of other storms around them, they have free rein to soak up all that heat and humidity themselves, use it as fuel to strengthen very quickly. So we'll see some storms erupting right around 6 to 7 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, they're going to be very, very intense. A very quick development of the storms outside today. You might even use the word explosive for these storms today. All threats on the table: tornadoes, damaging wind, those are the primary threats, but you could also see some large hail over 2 inches in diameter. Compared to yesterday at this time, when it was raining outside, we had the gloom. We're 14 degrees warmer, so the big warm-up is on, and we're going to keep on climbing from there. Right now, just a little pool of some fair weather clouds. I'm going to pull a pointer back out, and you can see a few of those little itty-bitty popcorn clouds starting to fire up here. Now, again, they're not going to go into storm mode until later tonight because they'll run into that cap and not want to grow anymore. So that's what's going to keep this chance down, at least for the next several hours, until we get a little help when those temperatures reach the mid-80s. I think the magic number today is going to be somewhere around 84, 85. If we can get there, and I see us getting there, we will see these storms popping back up. But that's the reason. Even with the temperatures, the moisture, everything in place right now, they're not going to fire up because we have that warm air, that drier air aloft. Up to the northwest is our next storm system. It's well up to the northwest. There's already been a few severe storms up through Minnesota, but this threat will extend all the way down through eastern Minnesota, down through most of Wisconsin, northeastern portions of Illinois, including Chicago, northern Indiana, western, southwestern Michigan, and northwestern Ohio. Here, it's a slight risk. And again, not saying the threat is any lower necessarily. The threats are all the same. We do have a tornado threat today, damaging wind threat just like tomorrow. It's just that we won't see very widespread severe weather today. It will be a little bit more isolated, more localized compared to tomorrow. And I'll show you here on the model. It looks a lot worse outside in terms of coverage of the storms tomorrow. Also, tomorrow being a Friday, we have that enhanced risk, 3 out of 5. With it being a Friday, there will be a lot more things happening, right? Not too many people plan things on Thursdays, but there will be a ton of outdoor things happening Friday. My short list includes the Zach Brown Band concert over at TQL Stadium. That'll be happening. I think doors are close to 5 o'clock, concert 6:30, somewhere in there, and on the field probably there at TQL Stadium till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Storms tomorrow are going to be arriving about that same time. We also have Reds Fireworks Friday out there tomorrow night. Today's game is great. They're going to luck out with today's game because it's an early one. They first pitches at 12:40, about 30 minutes from now. Might not be as lucky outside with the Fireworks Friday tomorrow, and I'll show you that in a second. The other problem with tomorrow is that with that widespread severe weather, there's also a heightened chance that we could see more intense tornadoes. The updrafts look like they're going to be a little bit stronger tomorrow in those storms. And we have a 10%, what we just kind of call in the weather world a 10% hatched, right? And the hatching, that black little spots there on the screen, that hatching indicates a significant threat. So not just a 10% chance for tornadoes, which I know it sounds low, but that's a 10% chance at any point, you go around 25 miles within any point, you could see a tornado. So that's a relatively high chance. Sure, it's not 15, 30, 45, or 60, but it's still a significant threat. And then you throw the hatching on top of that. What that hatching means is there's an increased likelihood, not only are you going to see tornadoes, but that they'll be EF2 plus, right? Starting on the EF scale, the enhanced Fujita scale, 0, 1, 2, those tornadoes are violent anyway, right? They can cause a significant amount of damage. But 2, 3, 4, and 5, those are very violent tornadoes. Usually they're on the ground for longer periods of time. So we'll see what happens. Again, biggest threats with this are likely to be in central Indiana, western Kentucky, but we are on and right under that 10% hatch risk for tomorrow. So something to definitely keep an eye on tornado-wise. I think that threat's going to be a little higher for Friday. I think a flash flooding threat is going to be an issue too with Friday night because it looks like these storms, unfortunately, are just going to linger. So great day for baseball. This is the only game, even under First Alert Weather Day. First game this week we haven't had to fight off the rain chances. So the Reds will be happy this afternoon. A little muggy, summer-like temperatures out there, 84 by the end of the game. Here we go. Let's take a look ahead. This is our newest loop of the high-resolution model. I'll check some Facebook comments here in a minute against my better wishes to see if anybody's got any questions. And we'll see how we go through those in just a minute. But let me get through this, and I'll hop back to questions and try to answer some specific stuff here in a minute. So if you have anything to get done today, and it takes you to about 6 o'clock, I think you're going to be in good shape. But the closer we get to 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight, that's when the storm threat is going to start to ramp up in the area. By 8 to 9 o'clock, those storms are going to be approaching downtown. And you can see how they're not going to be that widespread. What we're really keeping an eye on here is the yellows, the reds, the magentas. Those are going to be the intense storms rolling through this evening. Not widespread. Not everybody will get wet tonight. But the areas that do, these storms will likely rapidly intensify and become severe and produce hail, damaging wind, and perhaps even a tornado or two tonight. So we're talking about after sunset threat. Early tomorrow morning, we have a slim chance to see a few stronger thunderstorms. This is not the big threat, but we cannot rule out some stronger storms lingering into the overnight. So have a way on your phone to get watches, warnings, as they come out through the overnight hours, particularly the warnings. Warnings are, when things are actually happening, not, conditions are favorable. That's more of a watch. Through the overnight hours, Can't rule out some warnings. Have a way to get those warnings so you can get woken up and get to a safe spot if you need to. And then, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because sunshine, like I said, it doesn't help us this time of year. Sunshine will pop out for most of the peak daytime heating hours tomorrow. That's going to allow us to warm back up into the 80s again. Moisture is still going to be there, and we will not have that protective cap on top of us to keep us rain-free. So look what happens after 4 o'clock tomorrow. So this one a little earlier tomorrow than what we're going to see outside with a post-sunset event tonight. Storms will start to develop off to the southwest rapidly after 4 o'clock. They will quickly, by 5 to 6, start to push into southeast Indiana, Carroll County, Gallatin County, down towards Owen County. So southwest to northeast generally tomorrow. Generally, that direction is also favorable in this area for tornadoes to have that southwest to northeast flow. Working away between 6 and 7 o'clock. That line, that damaging, destructive line of storms will be pushing its way through downtown, the heart of downtown. Mayfest, Reds Fireworks Friday. There will be people at that time trying to get down. That first pitch tomorrow is at 6:40. You can see why there will be issues tomorrow as we work our way through the evening hours. Please, if you have the plans, you don't have to cancel them necessarily, but have a way, have a plan ahead of time to be able to duck inside somewhere if you have to. Because this will be a very, very intense line of storms late tomorrow night. This is also in TQL Stadium. They're having the concert going on, so again, don't be surprised if we have some delays, some issues outside with some of those outdoor events. Don't seek shelter under a tent. If you have an event with a tent, don't get under the tent. That will not help you. With lightning, it certainly won't help if we have damaging wind gusts in excess of 70 miles an hour, which is possible on tomorrow's storms. We could catch a break from time to time. Just know that severe weather threat into Friday is going to linger. We are not done with the first wave. There will be more storms that the models are hinting at through the evening and the early overnight, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Now, I do think by the time we hit about 11 or midnight or so, again, we'll have to keep an eye on this timing because that's subject to change this far out. But around 11 o'clock to midnight, it looks like that line will finally start to press east as a cold front dives through, and then we'll start to dry back out. So the later plans, 11, midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, if you're out till 3, but, by then we will start to clear back out. Then there's the good news this weekend. Outside of having some windy conditions Saturday, we'll see some gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. Outside of storms on Saturday, it will be sunny pretty quick. And a few fair weather clouds, that's about it. So not too bad. One little recap here of some of the storm threats. Again, today, moderate-ish threat, for damaging wind tornadoes. Not everybody sees the storms today, but those that do fire up will have those threats. Tomorrow, those threats are a little bit increased. We have that 10% hatch chance for tornadoes in this area. Stronger, more longer-lasting tornadoes rather than spin-ups are going to be possible. Hail could be up to 2 inches in some places. I mean, that's big hail that will, keep the insurance companies on their toes throughout the day tomorrow. And, of course, gusts over 70 miles an hour, not impossible either in some of the storms. So Fireworks Friday, unfortunately, out there with the Battle of Ohio, we're going to be battling Mother Nature too with those storms outside, set to arrive right around first pitch time. Do not stay in your seats if there are stronger storms rolling in. Please take their advice seriously. They're going to have messages on the big board tomorrow. Anywhere you go, they'll have them at TQL Stadium as well for the concert. You do not want to be outside when these storms whip through. Saturday, we dry out very early. Rest of Saturday, outside of being windy, it's going to be really nice. 75, just hold on to your hats, a little extra hairspray kind of day on Saturday. Sunday, 73, a few high, thin clouds. Sunday looks perfect. Please try to take advantage of the gap this weekend, the nice little dry gap to get out there, get some of the yard work in, because next week looks soggy again. There's a slim chance by Tuesday and Wednesday we could see a stronger storm. We'll keep an eye on those days. Right now it doesn't look like a huge threat, but it looks like we will see at least a chance for some heavy rainfall those days. And then that rain will linger and then eventually dry out Thursday. So that's what we got going on. Real quick, let's see what we got going on here on the Facebook. I know, I wish I was wrong too. Sometimes I'm right and it's really disappointing. So we'll keep an eye on the skies tonight and tomorrow especially. Fall weather will feel kind of like fall again this weekend, at least through the mornings. Sunday and Monday in particular before those storms roll back in. Rick, I was just talking about it. I talked about it a few times at the Zach Brown Band concert tomorrow at TQL Stadium. So I do help advise FC Cincinnati sometimes on weather issues. And so we'll be in close contact as the storms are rolling back in tomorrow. Yeah, so as the gates open, I think at 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish. I think the first, the opener's probably at 6:30. That is when the first line of storms tomorrow is going to be close to arriving. So, again, if they give you a message on the board, they come on over the PA or the band tells you, they're walking off the stage, there's a reason for that. Just take it seriously, follow the instructions in case anything happens. Hopefully it doesn't. Hey, we might get lucky. It might avoid the stadium altogether tomorrow. I'm not super confident in that. I think that we're just going to get walloped at some point tomorrow night. Just a matter of the exact timing. All right, what else we have? Some dry weather. I know we could definitely use some drier weather. Unfortunately, it does not look that way. So that does it for those comments real quick. Let me hop back through. I'll show you a few more things as we get through here. Let me show you some of the rainfall totals into next week. So next week, models are kind of torn on exactly how much rainfall. So this is an estimate of rainfall just through what we're going to see outside the next 48 hours. And again, some of these totals are going to be a little bit more skewed. If we do see one of those heavier downpours or some of those storms training over the same area Friday night, we could be dealing with some flash flooding because the ground is pretty saturated out there with how much rain we've seen. We're running over an inch surplus for the month already. So if we see some of those heavier downpours, some spots certainly could pick up a couple inches of rainfall, and that's just through Saturday. Now, as we work our way into Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, let's see if I did this earlier. Yep, here we go. You'll see those totals increase significantly because we'll see 2 days of fairly widespread rainfall in the next week. There'll be some breaks, but a good amount of rain. Some spots could pick up on the time it's all said and done, all the way from today through next week. Some spots could pick up over 3 inches of rain. Watch out if you have one of the basements. Make sure the sump pump's working in there, and keep a close eye on that because it does look to be soggy ahead again. Temperatures after our brief warm-up here today, tomorrow, we're back to more seasonable levels, even a little cool, maybe a little chilly, some fall-like temperatures by Thursday of next week. 66 out there. So general temperature trend a little cooler. That's all because that rain will be keeping us cool through much of next week. Sunday, again, perfect day, 73. Get out there and enjoy your Sunday. Real quick, let's hop back over here. We'll show you what's going on right now, which again is nothing. We have the cap in place until later on tonight. That won't start to erode until about 6 to 7 o'clock, and then that, shortly thereafter, storms will start to fire up this evening. So we have nothing going on in the tri-state right now. Let me go ahead and erase that, and you'll see that spin of that storm is centered kind of right over Aberdeen, South Dakota, moving its way up. You can see that little spin there near Aberdeen. There's the front, a well-defined front, starting to sweep its way northward. That's the warm front. That's not a computer glitch. I mean, it's just that well-defined. So you can see that front starting to sweep northward. So very shortly, I would say within the next few hours, we'll start to see some severe storms up here through western portions of Minnesota, throughout Wisconsin today. That's where that severe threat is going to be a little bit higher. And then down here, like I said, it's just going to take it a little while for things to get just right here because we have some drier air aloft. So all these clouds we're starting to see, you see the little popcorn clouds starting to pop up here on the screen over the last couple of hours. You'll see them if you look downtown. I can probably spot some on the camera. Let me just hop over. Let's see. See what we're looking at on Turfway. The real look, you can see these little popcorn clouds, but they're not going to be very tall. They're going to run into it a couple thousand feet, probably about 4,000 feet up. They're going to run into a wall, and that wall is warmer air that's sitting up aloft. You can't feel it, you can't see it, but you'll see the clouds. They'll kind of level out. They won't be able to get any higher because they want to rise, but that warmer air just kind of makes them stall out. Once that warmer air layer starts to erode, or once the warmer temperatures here at the ground, those mid-80s, start to push these clouds up, then you'll start to see those clouds go up very quickly, and there will be a few of them that'll manage to get through that layer, that stubborn layer keeping them down. But for right now, I mean, again, just looking at this, they're not going to get much higher than where they're at right now. So keeping an eye on that, keeping a close eye on things. Timing-wise, again, 2 distinct threats. Tonight, it's going to be after sunset, or at least right around sunset. Sunset tonight, is at 8:45, so pretty close to that. 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's when that line of storms, or at least broken lines, some discrete cells will be popping up across the area. Tomorrow is going to be an earlier threat, so if you have the Friday plan, Zach Brown Band, you're going to be going down to the Reds game for Fireworks Friday, Battle of Ohio. It's going to be packed. Mayfest over in Covington is tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday look much better if you're trying to plan for that. Friday just does not look like a night you guys are going to want to be out and about downtown for, because all of those threats are going to be a possibility into the evening hours. Oh, let's see here. Let's hop back to the risk map real quick. I'm going to hop off this stream over here before I get yelled at, but I'll stay on this for a few minutes longer, and we'll see if we have any more questions pop up. So here's today's threat. Again, a slight risk. It's not because the threat is diminished compared to what we're going to see outside tomorrow. It's just because it's not going to be as widespread as what we're going to see outside tomorrow. The storms that do fire up tonight, while a little bit more isolated, are going to be very, very intense. Big hail, one of the bigger threats. Compared to a lot of the other spring-type storms we see, where you see the little pea hail, pea-sized hail. These hailstones could be 1 to 2 inches in diameter or larger. A lot of the analogs, some of the model data I've been running through, looks like it's pointing at larger hail with these storms outside tonight. Damaging wind, obviously. You can see downbursts with these storms, really intense downbursts when you have that little bit of drier air aloft out there. So that's something we're keeping an eye on with this. Tomorrow, that threat is a 3 out of 5, an enhanced risk for severe weather tomorrow. Slightly higher threat because the threat will be a little bit more widespread. And like I've been trying to mention, trying to get out there to you, I mean, it's a busy night. It's a Friday in spring. There's a ton of stuff that happens here in Cincinnati. Just be prepared for that. If you see the warnings come out, you have it on your phone where, the emergency alert system goes off. Take that very seriously. Have a way at that point to duck inside. It's not a test if they're doing it tomorrow night. They don't test that when severe weather happens. So take it very seriously. That enhanced tornado threat as well into Friday night. It is a 10% hatched risk. That is pretty high. I mean, more often than not with our spring storms here in Cincinnati, it's usually 2%. It's there. They're usually small spin-ups. We've surpassed in most spots the 5% risk with the exception of our easternmost communities. The biggest threat going to be over downtown and stretching westward. Southeast Indiana, central Indiana in particular, south central Indiana. That's where the threat is going to be highest. And the hatching, where it says significant there, that black hatching on the screen, is to indicate there is an increased likelihood that we will see some EF2 or stronger tornadoes. The scale goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2's right in the middle. There's an enhanced chance that we'll see the stronger variety of tornadoes rather than just the short-lived EF0s and EF1s, which still do damage, right? But obviously those longer track tornadoes can be pretty devastating. Reds game today, not bad. That's the one tomorrow we're going to have to worry about there for Fireworks Friday. So with that, I'm going to give a quick spiel here on downloading this. It's a free app that we have. We update it. We work on the hourly forecast. We work on the forecast itself. There's a great radar feature. Yeah, I might be able to do this on the fly here. Great app to have here on your phone. On the front screen, you'll see the latest video, which will get updated here shortly by me. Right now, it's still Catherine's video from this morning. You can submit storm photos as well directly from the app. Great feature to have. I know you can't really see this because it's 1.5 miles away, but just take my word for it. Also, a radar feature. Now, this radar, you'll get the past radar. You can loop through what's been happening the last hour or so, but there's a little button that hides down here in the bottom of the corner of the screen. It says future. You can also get the model data. You can see and time out where those storms are headed. So it is a really nice app that you can download. It's free, straight through this station. Just search for Fox 19 WX in the weather, in the App Store or on Google Play. Let's see if we got any more comments. If not, I'm going to hop off and try to get a lunch and relax a little bit before later on tonight because I think it's going to get a little busy out there, at least in a few spots. Let's see what we got going on in the comments section. Today, tomorrow. So, no, Christine, it's fine. Today and tomorrow. There's a severe weather threat both days. Both days will feature severe threats. The threats are all the same. The threats, I think there's a slightly higher chance tomorrow and being Friday for tornadoes and flash flooding. I think those threats are a little higher. But both nights will feature tornadoes, at least a chance for them, damaging wind and large hail. In terms of timing, it varies a little bit. Tonight's threat is going to be a little bit later. Let me see if I can find this again. We'll run through this again one more time. If it loads. All right, so tonight, that cap is in place. It's keeping thunderstorm development to a minimum through most of the day. Sometimes if you didn't have the cap, storms would pop up by 1, 2, 3 o'clock. This cap is going to hold down storm activity until about sunset tonight. or just thereafter. After that, the cap weakens enough, we see a few discrete storms popping up, and those storms that do pop up will develop very quickly. So you're not going to have much notice between when they first show up on radar and when they become severe. That's just the setup that we're going to have outside tonight. So just assume by 7 to 8 o'clock, get your plans in, whatever you got to try to do outside. If you have an early outdoor dinner reservation, I mean, you might still be good. That's 8 o'clock. That's when we're going to start to see those storms developing across the area. They'll start to intensify very quickly, and by 8 to 9, per this latest guidance, I wouldn't try to time it out exactly, but try to be done with, whatever you got to do by 6. I think that's a safe time. 7, 8, 9, that's where things will start to go downhill a little bit, and when storms start to fire up. A few storms are possible as well tomorrow morning, especially down south of the downtown area, so South Cincinnati there through northern Kentucky. And then we catch a little bit of a reprieve. Again, this is not always great. It looks like it clears us out as early as 10:30 tomorrow morning. That's going to allow the atmosphere to recharge ahead of round number 2, which will start to push back in by 4 to 5 o'clock. So by 5 o'clock, our westernmost communities, that storms are going to be knocking on your door. A little closer to 6 o'clock, they're right to the west of downtown, already pushing into Dearborn, Ripley counties, our westernmost communities. And then downtown, likely, again, this is subject to change. Take this with a grain of salt, but generally around 6 to 7 o'clock near downtown. And then they're going to linger. We'll catch some breaks, but don't let your guard down after that initial wave pushes through. There will be more storms by 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, and then we finally dry back out into the late evening hours. So that's the timing-wise. Threat-wise, again, all things are on the table, just a slightly higher threat. Hamilton tonight between 4 and 10. So if you're heading up to Hamilton, 4 to 10 o'clock, just note that after sunset tonight, 8:30, 9 o'clock, we will see some storms rolling in. And you definitely don't want to be driving in them. So if you can cut that typical 10 o'clock back to 8, get home before sunset, that would probably be in your best interest if you can. That would be probably the best and what I can advise on timing tonight. And, you might get lucky and there might not even be a storm between Hartwell and Hamilton. Might get lucky, but, if you want to try to avoid that risk altogether, lessen the anxiety, try to avoid that if you can. All right. As for summer, it's still a long ways out. I can try to look something up for you real quick, and we'll see what they have on the CPC seasonal forecasts here. Let's see, including July, August, September, above normal temperature. So yeah, it's looking pretty warm outside, just generally. I mean, it's always warm anyway around here, and it usually gets really sticky with all the humidity, but it looks like they're going to be running a little bit above normal for the summer season. That's what the Climate Prediction Center has. So I'm going to call it quits. Steve will be in here soon. We'll both be here tonight. I believe Aaron is also going to be here soon. We'll be able to stream this for you. If any severe weather happens tonight, we'll be on the air, online, Facebook, YouTube. You'll be able to find us anywhere. You'll be able to watch that too on your phone, on the app. So just one of those times. It's severe weather season in Cincinnati. If anybody has any questions, if you're on the Facebook stream, follow me, Facebook. It's Meteorologist Brad Maushart. Should have a long time ago branded myself as Bad News Brad, but Meteorologist Brad Maushart works too. Easier to find me that way. Find me there. There's a direct link to that, I believe, here in this, the link to the Fox 19 stream there on Facebook. We'll be able to get you through this. Again, just some strong storms out there tonight. You've been alerted. Your first alert here with the weather that's being, heading this way outside this evening. Again, a little closer to sunset tonight, so you still have some time to get out there. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you again for tuning in. I'm meteorologist Brad Maushart. We'll have more tonight as those storms start to push our direction.